NBA Rivals Week concludes with a pair of playoff rematches from the 2023 Conference Finals. Heat at Knicks, 3 ET, ABC, and Lakers at Warriors, 8:30 Eastern Time, ABC, as well as a clash of the last two Kia MVPs with Sixers at Nuggets, 5:30 Eastern Time, ABC. Take a closer look at the history of these rivalries and what to expect on Saturday.
Heat vs Knicks. The Heat-Knicks rivalry origin story begins with Pat Riley's departure from New York to Miami in 1995, followed by 4 consecutive playoff matchups from 1997 to 2000 that not only went the maximum number of games, but were known for an intense, physical style of play. Last year's playoff matchup was just the second in the past 23 postseasons for the longtime rivals, but once again the intensity of a Heat-Knicks series was evident.
Miami won in 6 games to advance to the East Finals and eventually the NBA Finals. Both teams are in the playoff picture again this year, but enter this Rivals Week matchup headed in opposite directions. New York has won 5 straight and is an NBA best 11-2 in January, while Miami has dropped 5 straight.
If there is any lesson to know from this rivalry's history, the records don't matter when these teams take the court against one another. Sixers vs Nuggets. NBA legends Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain once discussed what the other meant to them throughout their rivalry.
Chamberlain: "You always need the best to bring the best out in you. So I was always fortunate to have to know that I was gonna play against the Celtics and William Felton Russell. If we wanted to win and be winners, we had to go into the Boston Garden and come out, some kind of way, winning.
And so you got inspired, and you always got up to do that." Russell: "We would have still won about 11 or 12 championships, but it wouldn't have been nearly as much fun. Because winning is only important. At least it was to me. If you beat the best.
If you go out and beat guys that aren't any good, that's no big deal. But my friend Wilt Norman Chamberlain was far and away the best player I've ever played against." That idea of iron sharpening iron has played out throughout NBA history. The NBA MVP has been awarded 68 times since 1955-56.
Big men have finished 1-2 in the voting 22 times, but only 5 duos have done so more than once. Russell and Chamberlain 1959-60. Chamberlain first, Russell second 1961-62. Russell, Chamberlain. Russell and Bob Pettit 1958-59. Pettit, Russell 1960-61. Russell, Pettit. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bob McAdoo 1973-74. Kareem, McAdoo 1975-76. Kareem, McAdoo. Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett 2002-03. Duncan, Garnett 2003-04. Garnett, Duncan. Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid 2020-21. Jokic, Embiid 2021-22. Jokic, Embiid 2022-23. Embiid, Jokic and Embiid are the first bigs to finish atop the MVP voting for 3 consecutive seasons.
And a fourth could be on the way as they sit number 1 and number 2, respectively, in Michael C. Wright's latest Kia MVP ladder. Many more chapters will need to be written for the Embiid-Jokic rivalry to reach the legendary status of Russell-Chamberlain.
The next one will be written today in their final regular season meeting of the season. Below is a look at how Embiid and Jokic have performed not just when their teams play against one another, but when they are matched up with each other on offense and defense.
Embiid's Sixers hold a 6-2 edge over Jokic's Nuggets in head-to-head matchups, including their most recent game on Jan. 16. Lakers vs Warriors. The Lakers-Warriors matchup does not share the history of Knicks Heat, but rather mirrors the player versus
player rivalry of Sixers-Nuggets. You can't tell the story of LeBron James without Steph Curry and vice versa. Their stories will always be intertwined, like Wilt and Russell or Magic and Bird.
Saturday marks the 50th time the two superstars will meet between the regular season and playoffs. Last year's matchup in the West semifinals was their fifth playoff series against one another, but the only one that didn't come in the NBA Finals, where the superstars met 4 straight years from 2015 to 2018.